Hello. Now you see I have another T-shirt because now I'm really representing the EID project of the Swiss Confederation. I am joined by Pascal, who will kick off talking about the Swiss democracy and the EID. Then I will talk about our project in technical terms, and finally Daniel will talk about applications beyond the EID. So Pascal, from Digital Society, the floor is yours.
Hello, hello. Oh, yes. Okay. Thank you for welcoming me on this stage. I'm from the Digital Society Switzerland, also known as Digitale Gesellschaft or Société Numérique en Français. I start with this presentation because I think also from the political process we were somewhere at the beginning. Back in 2020, we launched a referendum against the original law for the original plans for the EID, which was a great success. We had over 64% of the votes which were against this original law. And instantly after that, we also had something I think quite novel, I'd say. We had 6 motions from 6 different political parties, so wide coverage of the whole political spectrum in Switzerland. Identical motions which described the need for a new regulation, a new law for the new EID to come after this referendum. There has been some progress in the way. I think Rolf will also say a few things about that on its way. We think that the new EID law is a big turnaround compared to the original one. Things which we criticized in the first law were it was not a state-issued ID, it was done by private organizations, it was centralized, so there was no control about privacy issues, etc. And in all those terms, a lot of work has been done. There has also been a great participatory process on the way, with a lot of meetings which Rolf and his folks held over at the beat. And we are not with all points, but with most points quite happy how the new law turned out. So it will be a state-issued ID. So the state will do it on its own, and it is based on privacy by design and privacy by default principles. So this is really great for our expectations, which we had back then. Still, we are digital rights organizations, we are an NGO, so we have to be vigilant, and we will stay vigilant also in the future. We have different points which will keep an eye on them also when the new EID will be there. I think the most important ones here will be that no over-identification takes place. This is something which we are really keen on, so that we don't have to show the EID, in all kinds of situations which we didn't need to do that before. We also want the federal government to keep up the promise of open source, to support also alternate wallets, and not only the state wallet one. Yeah, actually that's already all I have to say about this point. So overall we think that the new law and the new EID, the opportunities outweigh somehow the risks we have with it, so we are in support with that. There is currently a new referendum going on which we are not part of, so we basically support the new law. I think you will also mention something about the new referendum. So yeah, that's from my side. Thanks you for listening.
Thank you, Pascal. So to be really crystal clear, we are in Switzerland, but Switzerland does not have an EID today. We don't have one. In 21, the majority of the people rejected the law which would have been the legal basis for such a project. As we have seen, we are now working on the EID 2.0. This new EID would be the digital form of your identity card, of your passport, or of your foreign residence card if you're a foreigner living in Switzerland. A very important point in the context of EIDs in Switzerland is that it is voluntary. Nobody has to get one or gets one automatically. Only those people who actually demand for one would get one. Obviously, it's nice to be able to prove my identity in the internet, but we really do that in order to allow all kinds of transactions that they take place without media rupture. We have heard already many times about that. We try to accomplish this here in Switzerland as well. And we've heard it, the initial project 4 years ago got rejected for a number of reasons, but the core reason was the concerns of privacy. So we now have adopted a different architecture inspired by self-sovereign identity principles, so that I, as an owner of my identity, control my data and can be in control of my data, basically. Now, how do we achieve that? We have this basic architecture or concept with the issuer, the holder, the verifier, and the registries. I don't think I have to go into details in this audience, but just to tell you where we stand. The visually least attractive slide, but probably the one which you are most interested in, is our tech stack. So let me quickly run through it. So the issuer and verifier identification method is a deep web VH. The verifiable credentials will be based on SD-JOTs. For the signature scheme, we use ECDSA. Then for the credential exchange protocols, we rely on the family from OpenID. The electronic identity will be bound to the hardware, to the crypto processor of the mobile phone. For the revocation, we have a token status list. The trust protocol, that is something that we have invented ourselves. For the moment, we really want to provide the most privacy we can to accommodate all the political concerns you have seen have led to the rejection to the first law. Then for the beauty of the whole thing, we work with overlay capture architecture. And finally, again, something related to the topic of privacy. We want to provide an electronic identity which is unlinkable. For that, we will do a batch issuance, so that you use technically your EID just once, throw it away, and next time you present your EID, it will be cryptographically a different one. And for that, we have just recently published also a white paper with a renewal key, so a special key to issue then the next batch. But I won't get into all the details now. But this is just to give you an overview of the main technical specifications of our electronic identity. Behind this is obviously more than just myself. We are a team of more than 120 people working at the federal government from across different departments and offices. Overall, the budget for roughly 5 years is 180 million Swiss francs, which would be also about the same in euros or in US dollars, which is not nothing, but compared to some other budgets, still not the most impressive amount. I told you we don't have yet an EID, but we have already a wallet. You can download it now. It is what we call the public beta test infrastructure. Please try it out. And there you can also get what we call a beta ID. This is obviously a test credential. It has no legal value, but it allows you to have a first look and feel. And even more so, if you would like to become a verifier or an issuer of other credentials, you can do so on this same infrastructure. But we started with a photograph of the group of people who handed in some more than 50,000 signatures to trigger a popular vote. In Switzerland, any federal act approved by the law cannot enter into force before a period of 100 days has passed. Within these 100 days, people like you and me who are not happy with the law which has been approved by the parliament can collect signatures to then force a law which, to force a vote which is binding. And despite of all the efforts, if I may say so, some people still think that also the EID 2.0 is not satisfactory, and that is why they have used their constitutional rights to collect again signatures. They succeeded. They came up with, I think, 56,000 signatures, and we will vote on the 28th of September this year, so in 3 months. And if it is a yes, we will have an EID. If it will be a no, we won't have an EID, at least again for a couple of years. And in that context, I have just one little favor for you to do, and which is tomorrow at 5:30, my minister, Beat Jans, will come to close this conference. I really hope the room will still be packed. I know some of you have to leave early, but it would be nice if we would still have good energy here in this room, so that also my minister feels that there is support both from abroad but also within Switzerland. And with that, I hand over to Daniel, who will talk what it is about, what is all about beyond the EID. Please.
Super, thank you, Rolf. So you heard a lot about the EID itself, but actually we're solving for a much bigger problem. And I think that requires systematic addressing. So looking at today's internet, really it struggles to keep up with the demands that we have towards it. So we need to empower connections moving forward. We need to design, our particular infrastructure for Switzerland so it allows to model the decentralized and federal structure of Switzerland, but also allow for various other aspects that are addressable in the world. So the trust infrastructure can be actually creating value beyond Switzerland moving forward. Obviously, it needs to be simple, sustainable, and secure. And I think just looking at the simplicity of the architecture that Rolf introduced kind of allows for long-term sustainability and effective management around this particular infrastructure, which gives a lot of freedom and flexibility in terms of how it is being used and how it is being adopted and how it is creating value. So obviously, as Pascal also said, it needs to stay continuously aligned with our civic values and also our cultural values of Switzerland. We have particular high and sustained requirements towards privacy and control. And obviously, as a mainly exporting small country in the world, we require a lot of economic flexibility created by digital public infrastructures to allow for that flexibility, to allow for how we actually push our services and capabilities in the world outside of this digital public infrastructure, more the traditional economic aspects. So very early in the participatory process that was outlined by Rolf, 3 ambition levels were formulated. One was, do we actually want an EID? Yes or no? But do we want to go beyond that? Do we want to create a little infrastructure that will allow for municipalities, cantons, and the federal government to issue other verifiable credentials into wallets of people? Or do we actually want to go the full open ecosystem approach? And obviously, there have been votes significantly pushing for the open ecosystem, and that's what is being put in place with hopefully a positive vote on the 28th of September. It's a little bit of a surprise package, but obviously with the other aspects following, with or potentially also without the EID as a foundational trust anchor. So the ambition level 2, kind of just to visualize that, looking at, for example, the driver's license, which would be issued by cantons, So that's one of the examples of local governance that we need to support in our federal system. So that trust infrastructure actually required to be flexible enough to allow for this decentralized issuance. So ambition level 3, as I said, open ecosystem, even private issuers and verifiers can onboard to the platform or to the protocol and issue their type of credentials that supports their business model, that addresses problems that they have in their domain, their business domain, or their particular functional area that they want to solve in. So really happy that Switzerland recognized the importance of the EID being equally important as the ecosystem that can be created around it. With that, I'll just go into a little bit of the aspects of what openness means for this. It means that open access, open actor participation in the trust infrastructure that Switzerland provides. So any national and international organization can actually onboard to the trust infrastructure and issue and verify. So code-based artifacts for reuse. You can even build your own trust infrastructure moving forward, including trust registries, all of the aspects that you have seen within Rolf's presentation. And third-party wallets will be allowed, warranting holder binding moving forward. Obviously, flex on sectoral governance. You can adapt the architecture and deploy your own governance model around those use cases and around those sectoral and cross-sectoral problems that you would like to address. And with that, it creates the opportunity to launch any type of lawful business model on top of that infrastructure. Even the most complex multi-issuer and multi-verifier data flows that are required to solve many of today's problems. Obviously, for companies and for organizations, a lot of value is being unlocked. I think the user-centric services and data flows really speak to the organizations, but also to the people, because it allows you to create new ways of managing your data that allows more control and more
self-sovereign.
Not self-sovereign, but
I'm not sure what you want to say,
well,
but let's
I can
move
say
on.
self-sovereign too. Yeah, mate. So I'll go to the next one. Tackle fraud and manage compliance effectively. Obviously, for organizations is an important aspect, and I think boosting assurance in automation, where we don't know where the data comes from, what it is worth, what kind of assurance it has around it, making machine-readable data available for organizations really drives the opportunity to create more automated workflows. So, also from our side, still a couple of open challenges. One is organizational identity. We have seen the European environment kind of launching the process around European business wallets, and I think we have to do the same here in Switzerland. Really also solving for interoperability by design, because we are early in the process, and we should model organizational identity the right way, right from the start, to enable cross-jurisdiction interoperability right from the start. Ensure inclusive formal governance for SWIU, obviously to involve. I think it's important, the wonderful participatory process that you started with, that we continue with that, also to prevent private sector investments and private sector adoption, and then the collaboration to actually empower the other side of the market. So kind of, we have the EID and various verifiable credentials, but who actually educates and helps those organizations to work with these new mechanisms? I think there's much more collaboration needed to make organizations outside of this bubble aware of what the potential is and what we can actually achieve together. So thank you.
Thank you.